Thanks for joining us for KSAT News at 9. Streaming from here in the KSAT 12 newsroom, I'm Courtney Friedman. Coming up tonight, the latest in the battle over mail-in ballots in Texas. A look at the particularly devastating impact this pandemic has had on our local travel and tourism industry, plus how a group of local engineers and 3D printer are addressing a problem in the medical community. But first, 65 new COVID-19 cases confirmed in Bexar County, bringing the total to 2,278. For the fourth day in a row, though, no new deaths were reported. But the number of hospitalizations is up a bit today. 80 people are currently hospitalized, 35 in intensive care, 20 on ventilators. 30% of Bexar County staffed hospital beds are still available, as are 78% of the ventilators in our county. Meanwhile, the city says testing capacity has now increased to 3,960 per day. And some more good news, Bexar County's positivity rate has declined for a third week in a row. Last week, the rate was 3.5%, down from 4.3% the previous week. As the state of Texas continues to reopen, the city of San Antonio and Bexar County have announced updated stay home, work safe orders that are designed to be consistent with Governor Greg Abbott's statewide orders. Stay home, work safe has been extended until June 4th. Under the new orders, the public is still encouraged to stay home as much as possible, and they're still being asked to minimize social gatherings with people outside of their immediate households. And while wearing a cloth face covering is not mandated, it is still recommended. The city's updated order is pending council approval. More than half of the 15.8 million travel-related jobs in the U.S. have disappeared during this pandemic. The U.S. Travel Association says travel-related unemployment hit 51%. So what will the travel and tourism industry look like after the coronavirus? Tiffany Huerta speaks with people in the industry about what they're experiencing, how they're adjusting, and what they hope will happen next.
The deals are excellent.
Patricia Stout, president of the Alamo Travel Group, says while there are great travel deals, business is down.
The calls are about 20 per day, when we used to have about 600 calls a day.
Patricia says sales are down 75%. For almost 40 years, the Alamo Travel Group has been offering different services in San Antonio.
Airline tickets, we offer car rentals, hotel reservations, motels anywhere in the world, tours.
But Stout says they've never seen anything like this.
The customer is saying bluntly, I'm not going to travel.
The U.S. Travel Association says travel to and within the U.S. came to a standstill in March, impacting travel businesses and workers.
38% of all the unemployed in the United States are from the travel industry. This is 2 times worse than the Great Depression was in the worst year for the travel industry.
President and CEO of the U.S. Travel Association, Roger Dow, says he estimates it will take 6 months for the industry to get back on its feet.
First is going to come local travel. People are saying they're going to drive. Then meetings and conventions will come back. And finally, international.
Here at home, Visit San Antonio, the public-private partnership that promotes tourism and conventions in our city, says more than 50 conventions and meetings they were involved with have been canceled. They are expecting to see a 30 to 40% loss on this year's hotel occupancy tax, an impact of $7.5 to $10 million. As Texas continues to reopen, eyes remain on the travel and tourism industry.
We're watching Texas very carefully. We're going to learn from Texas.
A federal judge here in San Antonio has ruled that all voters can apply to vote by mail during this pandemic, regardless of age. District Judge Fred Beery sided with individual voters in the Texas Democratic Party that voters would face irreparable harm if existing eligibility rules for voting were to stay in place during this public health crisis. His ruling reads in part, quote, "The court finds the Grim Reaper's scepter of pandemic disease and death is far more serious than an unsupported fear of voter fraud." End quote. This isn't the end of the story, though. An appeal is expected from the state. But for now, the Bexar County District Attorney says if you fear voting in person because of COVID-19, feel free to apply to vote by mail.
By definition, this ruling means that that is a disability and that does qualify them for a mail-in ballot. So sure, at least for today, voters that fit that category you have to still be an eligible Texas voter, but if you request a mail-in ballot because of this reason, then sure, you're entitled to receive a ballot.
The Bexar County runoff elections are scheduled for July 14th, and of course, the general election is in November. Well, it's a problem in the medical community you may not have considered. Long-term intubation can leave patients with serious damage. It's an even bigger issue now with COVID-19 increasing ventilator use across the world. So a group of UTSA engineers have set out to find a solution using a 3D printer. RJ Marquez tells us about a new design for a breathing tube that could be used in the future.
Airway management in general is a sector of medicine that really hasn't received as much attention, but there's been a problem for some time, particularly when it comes to first responders and combat medics.
UTSA professors Lyle Hood and David Restrepo and research assistant David Berard teamed up to develop a new breathing tube for ventilators that can solve some of the issues linked to airway management. Before the pandemic, they were already working on the 3D printed device to help soldiers in the field who needed to be intubated during an emergency. But the need for ventilators during this crisis has brought the issue to the forefront.
Now we are getting these patients with COVID. Intubation is becoming very difficult even for us that we are trained in the emergency room.
The group says their breathing tube would reduce patients' damage from long-term ventilation.
The tissues in the trachea are pretty sensitive, especially to high pressures. It restricts blood flow. That causes tissue damage, tissue death.
The device was also designed with first responders in mind to make it easier for a medical worker to insert the tube into someone's throat and reduce their exposure to a virus.
It's a very difficult procedure, it's tricky, and when somebody really needs to breathe, there's not a lot of time.
The group says this device is also one size fits all and would reduce the need for multiple sizes of breathing tubes.
So we are also trying to facilitate that process so more people can use it and it becomes more intuitive.
The team says innovation is overdue.
If you look up the patents and the devices from the 1940s, they look exactly like the ones that we use today, except they're made of rubber.
COVID-19 shows no immediate signs of going away, and we still don't know when we'll get a vaccine. New innovations and changes in the way that we treat patients could mean the difference between life and death.
We have the tools, the need is there, and why not to make a contribution that can help the society.
It's encouraging knowing that, my work is going to go into helping these people. There's going to be a long-term benefit and use of the work that I've put in it.
The group is working with UT Health San Antonio and the U.S. Army Institute for Surgical Research to get the breathing tube to clinical trials. Right now, they're testing it on mannequins. Let's turn now to tonight's 9 at 9. Several law enforcement officials injured while breaking up a huge party. Barbecue prices are up here at home. Plus, a look at how the COVID-19 pandemic is impacting communities around the world. Here's tonight's 9 at 9. A huge block party in Florida takes a violent turn when law enforcement tries to break it up.
You had 5% that was out there inciting a riot, carrying firearms, selling drugs.
The thing that initially started was a deputy got a rifle pointed at him. And that's when I think the whole dynamic changed.
Deputies called for backup. They say the crowd began throwing items, including chairs and bottles at them. In the end, 8 people were arrested and several law enforcement officers were treated for minor injuries.
Eviction proceedings can legally resume across Texas today, but it will likely be a couple of more weeks before these type of cases actually go before judges in Bexar County.
That gives renters a bit more time to try to come up with help. Officials with the city's Neighborhood and Housing Services Department say more than 7,600 people have applied for assistance since mid-March, an exponential increase compared to normal times. Pier 1 wants to close all of its stores for good. The 58-year-old retailer is asking the bankruptcy court to cease its retail operations as soon as reasonably possible. Pier 1 currently has more than 500 stores, down from 1,000 last year. It plans to sell its remaining inventory, website, and intellectual property. Here at home, today is Big Lou's Pizza's 20th anniversary. The owner of the restaurant says business has been rough since the pandemic began.
We're barely making it. I'm barely making payroll. I'm barely able to pay the bills, lights, all that. It's very tough.
He says he's managed to not lay off any of his employees. The restaurant is expanding dine-in capacity to 50% on Friday, and they're continuing to offer takeout. Monkeys at a popular tourist spot in Thailand are facing a food shortage. Under the coronavirus crisis, some monkeys have lost their main source of food, humans. Tourists normally feed them fruits, but tourism has dried up. The Acropolis in Athens is open to visitors once again after being closed thanks to the pandemic. Greece reopened more than 200 archaeological sites this week. Social distancing measures are in place and face masks are recommended.
You can expect to pay more for that next barbecue plate or smoked brisket.
Supply chain issues have driven up beef prices, especially high-demand brisket. Barbecue restaurants we checked with say they are paying double for a pound of prime brisket compared to just a couple of weeks ago.
Everything's gone up a little bit, but brisket's been is outrageous, and brisket's half the meat we sell. We had to go up on our price a little bit.
Checking with about a dozen restaurants around town, we found you can expect to pay from $1 to $5 more for a pound of prime brisket compared to a couple weeks ago. An Alabama student has earned a high school diploma, a bachelor's, and a law school degree, all by the age of 19. Seth Harding was homeschooled through high school, which he finished when he was 10. He received a bachelor's degree in history at the age of 16, and now he has a law degree, and he plans on taking the Alabama bar exam.
For the past 100 years, no one's ever sat for the bar in our state at the age of 19 or younger, and I'll be the first.
Facial recognition technology leads to a joyful reunion and a happy ending to what was a very sad story. A Chinese man kidnapped 32 years ago as a toddler was reunited with his biological family this week. Investigators used facial recognition technology to analyze an old photo of him as a boy and came up with a simulated image of him as an adult. They compared it with photos in the national database and tracked down a man who resembled the image. A DNA test confirmed the man's identity. Authorities are still investigating the initial abduction. To read more about these stories, head to KSAT.com.
Amazing what technology can do.
That is a really great story.
And what the sun can do. It didn't hit 100 here, but oof, there's some big temperatures.
Yeah, it was 108 out in Del Rio. So I don't know about you, but this time of year, my plants start to really need a good drink of water. So let's go ahead and take a look at the gardening forecast for this rest of the week. And you can see that conditions outside will be fine. So you'll definitely need to water tomorrow. And then maybe you'll have to water for the remainder of the week. And the reason for that is we're going to introduce a chance for isolated showers and storms. Better rain chances on Sunday. And so for that reason, I'm saying don't worry about watering on Sunday. So let's talk about the day today. It was a hot one. We got up to 96 degrees for the afternoon high, well above average, but it was much hotter elsewhere, especially west of San Antonio. Take a look at these high temperatures from earlier today. 103 down in Laredo, 108 in Del Rio, 104 out in Midland. That 108 degrees in Del Rio smashed a record set back way back. And in fact, it's the second hottest high temperature recorded for the month of May in Del Rio. So very impressive heat, all because of this big old blue H heat high in place across West Texas. We're going to start to see that break down over the next few days, and that'll open up the atmosphere to the potential for a few storms, especially onward after tomorrow. But let's take a look at tomorrow. Cloudy start in the morning hours, 72 degrees, then we'll quickly clear out in the afternoon, 94, and then storms will start to pop up out near the border in the evening, and one or two of those may make it over to San Antonio by Thursday morning. So not tomorrow, but by Thursday morning, we could see a few thunderstorms in the area. So again, that heat high is going to break down, and we'll start to see temperatures really cooling down by the middle of the week, and that'll also open up the opportunity for those showers and storms. Take a look at the futurecast. By Friday, you can start to see a little bit more activity around the Alamo City. So high temperatures thankfully going to go down into the 80s by the weekend. Now that's the good news for Memorial Day weekend. The bad news is we may have to be dealing with some showers and thunderstorms when a lot of people are wanting to spend some time outdoors during Memorial Day weekend and on Memorial Day itself. Reminder that Memorial Day often comes with some storms. We had those floods a few years ago on Memorial Day, so we'll be keeping our eye on the weather. Just know that a bit of a pattern change here from the heat to the rain, Courtney.
We need the rain though, so
we do.
We know you'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah, we will.
Thanks so much.
Of course.
Stay with us, guys. We'll be back in just 1 minute.
Welcome back. It's the time of the show where we try to separate the fear from the facts out there. What is really happening when it comes to coronavirus and COVID-19? And there are a lot of things happening right now, including the reopening of the state of Texas. We are joined by Dr. Ruth Berggren from the Long School of Medicine at UT Health San Antonio, an infectious disease doctor, as we always are on Tuesday. Doctor, thank you for being with us. And
to be here.
When we're talking about the reopening of the state, the first question we have tonight is, are you concerned about the state's hospitalization rate, which is something we talked about a little bit at 6?
Yeah, so everybody's guidelines all point to the fact that when you ease restrictions, you want to be confident that there's been a sustained and very real decline in cases. And an important indicator of how many cases you have is how many people are in the hospital. We can get confused when we just look at the actual positivity rate, because that'll change as we target different populations. If we go and test all the nursing home residents, if we test all the people in the jail, we're bound to find more cases and more positives, and we expect to see some of those spikes, and we've seen them here in San Antonio. But not all those people are going to get sick, and anybody who's in the community who has virus and is getting sick with it and getting very sick is going to eventually land in the hospital, and that hospitalization rate is not going to be affected by targeted testing or ramping up testing. It's a real rate. And that hasn't really changed, Steve. In the last month, it's been very flat to maybe a slight uptick if you compare mid-April to late May. And that's data that is available for anybody to find it's publicly available data about hospitalizations in the state of Texas. So I'm concerned.
Yeah, that's clearly something you'd like to see on the way down, like the curve change.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The next question, now that testing's been expanded to include people without symptoms, who should get tested? This seems to be a very popular question. Who should get tested and why you should get tested?
Right. So we're recommending that people who are at risk for bad outcomes and those who are around them or who care for them should be the ones that get tested. And so we always start with older folks, anybody over the age of 64, or the people who live with those folks or who care for them. And then the other people who are at risk for bad outcomes are folks with poor health with respect to their hearts, their lungs, their kidneys, people with chronic diabetes, people who are immunocompromised for a variety of reasons. Those are the folks that we want to protect, and we should strategically have our tests done in a way that protects the people that have those problems. Healthcare workers should be tested. The people who go into nursing homes should be tested. And in fact, we've been working hard to get all the detention deputies at the jail tested as well.
All right, the next question is about the president. The president says he takes hydroxychloroquine. Is this a good idea in your opinion?
What the president is doing is taking a medication that for an indication that we have no idea if it works for that or not. Hydroxychloroquine is a drug that I'm very familiar with. It has another name, Plaquenil. It's used to treat lupus and it's used to treat malaria, especially in places where there's still chloroquine-sensitive malaria. And it is a drug that has many uses, and it's a good drug. It does have its side effects, though, so we only use prescription medication when we know that the benefits are going to outweigh the risks. And the public needs to know the risks of hydroxychloroquine are not trivial. And they start with effects on the heart. So it can interfere with the electrical conduction system of your heart, which is how the rhythm of your heart is generated. And some people could get very dangerous heart arrhythmias, abnormal heart rhythms, which could even get serious enough for somebody to have a sudden cardiac death. The drug is toxic to the heart muscle itself. It also has myriad other side effects in certain people. Some people will have suppression of their bone marrow, so they can wind up with more immunocompromised state because their own bone marrow is not making the cells that it needs to make. There's toxicity to the eye. Long-term use of hydroxychloroquine can cause macular degeneration and retinal toxicity. So it's really no joke. It's a good drug when it's indicated and when the benefits are going to outweigh the risk. We have no good evidence that it does anything at all in COVID-19. In fact, there's a very real study that's very concerning that was done in our own veteran population with credible investigators from Virginia and South Carolina. And what they found is when hydroxychloroquine was used in veterans with COVID-19, they actually had a higher rate of death, a higher rate of death, and no improvement in whether or not they would need a ventilator compared to people who weren't getting hydroxychloroquine. Yeah. That study has limitations, okay? It wasn't a huge study, and it's retrospective. It's not a double-blind, randomized, prospective, controlled trial, but those kind of trials are actually being done. So the National Institute of Health is sponsoring a number of those. One just got started recently in San Diego. They're using the umbrella of the AIDS clinical trial researchers to study 2,000 people prospectively that have COVID-19, people that aren't sick enough to be in the hospital, but that are sick, and they're either going to get hydroxychloroquine and azithromycin, which is another antibiotic, or they're going to get 2 placebo pills. And they're going to monitor those folks going forward to see if this combination could possibly prevent hospitalization or death. So that just got started. There's another trial that's going on with the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute, and more that I'm not even able to rattle off. So we are going to get data. And I imagine it's going to be a matter of weeks and maybe months, but we'll have real solid information. Until that happens, I do not recommend that people take this drug.
All right, a lot of things are reopening. One of them, restaurants, bars. If a waiter speaks without a mask, will they infect my food? That's a viewer question tonight.
So I am of the opinion that waiters should be masked to the extent possible. The purpose of wearing a mask is to protect other people from getting the virus if you have it and you don't realize that you have it. First of all, the waiter shouldn't be at work if the waiter is sick, right? But the waiter should wear a mask because he or she might be sick and not realize it yet. Is it going to get on your food and then you'll get it from your food? There's no evidence that eating food is the way that the virus gets to you. It's much more likely that a respiratory droplet is generated as the person is speaking. Multiple little droplets kind of spew out from a person who's speaking. The louder they speak, the more droplets there are, and those land on your face, or you breathe them in, or they land on a surface that you then touch, and then you touch your eye or your mouth, and that's how you get it. There's been no evidence at all of transfer from a person to food and then to a person.
Right. All right, final question tonight. When will we know if we reopen things too soon?
Yes, so there's a number of warning indicators. The warning indicators are a decrease in the time to the doubling of cases, an increase in the stress of the hospitals, so more occupancy of hospital beds, ICU beds, and ventilators, with lack of sufficient protective personal equipment or PPE. And then the other warning indicator that's important is to look at the percentage of the cases in a community that are positive. And right now we have seen a low percentage and a declining percentage. I think the last time I saw it, it was around 3.6% of the people in San Antonio who go to get tested for whatever reason are positive. Compare that to hotspots. There's a hotspot in Amarillo right now where the percent positive is about 10 times what we have in San Antonio.
Right.
So we want to be watching for those rises before they get out of control. And that would tell us we need to retreat back to more stringent restrictions as we had in the early days.
On a time frame wise, or do you think when we could first possibly see that? I think as a layman is guessing still we're like a week or two at least away from seeing those kind of indications.
Yes, I think you're right about that. Also, I think that not everybody in San Antonio is rushing out to ease those restrictions. And it's mixed, right? Some people haven't been taking it too seriously, but the majority have. Most people I talk to, Steve, are really very, very concerned. Even the restaurant owners, the folks who really want to get back into business. So I see in our community a rather slow easing of the restrictions, and I think it's going to be at least another week to 2 weeks before we see some of these indicators showing us worsening numbers.
Great information. Dr. Ruth Berggren, UT Health San Antonio, thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Happy to be here.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
The city and county's health and economic transition teams helped offer guidance on next steps during this public health crisis. Tonight, we're hearing from a pastor who was on both of those teams about his own experience. Dr. Kenneth Kemp is a pulmonary critical care medical physician and a local pastor at Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. He tells us he was able to provide unique insight during meetings with both teams.
Was very concerned about making sure that we didn't move too quickly and expose the community to a resurgence in COVID-19 cases. So I didn't do anything in particular that's different than anyone else, really. I really talked about the issues concerning churches, community gatherings. I hope I was able to do this, is speak from the perspective of someone who deals with sick people on a regular basis in my professional work as a physician, and then deal with people someone who deals with people who have spiritual and emotional needs in my professional responsibility as a pastor.
Both the health and economic transition teams released their reports earlier this month. Antioch Missionary Baptist Church will open its doors for in-house service on the first Sunday of June, but they will also continue live streaming services throughout this crisis. Turning to tonight's top stories, the Bexar County Commissioner's Court approved another $1.5 million for grants for small business owners. The money approved today is for businesses with 5 or fewer employees.
If we talk about up to 10,000 per small business, that's 150 small businesses that we can help right away.
Lift Fund does not expect the grants to open until June. As state district courts prepare to reopen, Bexar County is making some changes to comply with public safety guidelines. Cloth seats are being replaced by folding chairs, and social distancing directions are in place for the central jury room. There will also be a limit on the number of prospective jurors. If you're still waiting on your stimulus payment from the government, keep an eye out for a debit card in the mail. The U.S. Treasury Department is going to start mailing some stimulus payments on debit cards. Up until now, payments had been either directly deposited into bank accounts or sent as a paper check. About 4 million payments will be sent on debit cards. Only 45% of foster children graduate high school or get a GED. That's why it is so important to acknowledge the 500 foster kids around Texas who are graduating this year. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it really difficult for those students to be celebrated. So during National Foster Care Month, 2 driven teenagers are asking for the community's help. They want families to adopt a senior.
Many Texans know 18-year-old Allie Graves as Miss Texas Outstanding Teen, but few know her story of neglect and abuse beginning at birth.
I was neglected on a daily basis. A family member walked in and saw me being abused and immediately called any authority.
At 6 years old, she was adopted into a loving family. Her advocacy for foster kids led her to Hunter Beaton, a Bernie teen who we featured on KSAT for his work donating over 30,000 bags and backpacks to foster youth. 3 out of Beaton's 4 siblings are adopted foster children.
They often are given a trash bag to place their clothes in or whatever items that they have in their possession.
Almost 500 foster teens are graduating from high schools across Texas this year, and Beaton and Graves don't want COVID-19 to stop those grads from getting love and support. They're asking their communities to virtually adopt a 2020 senior from foster care by donating money.
And that's a beautiful phrase, especially for these foster youth, because many times these foster youth are looking simply for adoption.
Beaton and Graves will give at least $100 in gift cards and a free bag to every one of those 500 foster grads.
I just want these kids to know they're not defined by their circumstances and that they're loved by their communities.
It's easy to donate. All you have to do is go to this Facebook page, Adopt a 2020 Senior from Foster Care. At the top, there's a blue sign up button. You click it. It leads you to this form. You can fill out your information and explain how much you want to donate, and it goes straight to them. The deadline to donate is June 1st. Older people here in Bexar County may need help getting groceries or paying bills, and they sometimes rely on the kindness of strangers to get those things done. But there are some bad guys out there looking to make some money off unsuspecting seniors. In tonight's Money It's Personal, digital journalist Ivan Herrera has some tips on what seniors and their loved ones can do to stay safe from these types of scams.
If you're a senior in need of help to get groceries, pay bills, or get prescriptions or other items, it may be tempting to seek outside help to get your errands done if you're living alone. If someone you don't know offers to help, be wary. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau says some scammers will offer to buy you supplies and never return with the goods or money. Instead, try to find a trusted friend or neighbor, or arrange a delivery with the local well-known company to get your items. If you need help going out and paying your bills, you may want to call your bank to see if you can set up autopay. Be cautious of purchasing from unknown sellers online. The CFPB says some sellers may claim to have high demand products such as cleaners or medical supplies when they actually don't. Consider purchasing online goods from reputable sellers and retailers. And if you need a prescription, many pharmacies are now offering contactless delivery. So, it's best to call your pharmacy to see if you can make arrangements instead of trying to get medicine from an unknown seller online. If you're a senior who needs additional help, the Elder Locator is a public service of the U.S. Administration of Aging that connects you to services for older adults. Call 1-800-677-1116 for assistance. For the 9, Ivan Herrera.
And we have that number and a link to the Elder Locator on our website. Just visit ksat.com/news at 9. And if you have any money questions, you can submit them at the bottom of that article.
Hey, what's up, guys? Time to check out some stories that are trending tonight on KSAT.com. And let's go ahead and start with giant apple snails. Yes, giant apple snails. So you may remember earlier this year in January, even though January feels like years ago, these little guys are found in the San Antonio River. They are considered invasive species when it comes to our native waters. Well, now they're showing up in Houston waters, so the Texas Parks and Wildlife Agency is basically saying that if anyone sees these things, make sure to report it. Don't grab them. Don't kick them or don't do anything like that. Just report them to wildlife officials and they'll take care of it. Again, if you want more information on why these snails are considered invasive species in our native waters, head over to our website, ksat.com. We have all the latest information there, including this latest alert. So, in my opinion, this is just a sign that these little insects are just ready to take over the world, pretty much. Murder hornets, bee swarms, just plain. Don't do anything to these guys. Just report them to Texas Wildlife Agency and they will take care of them. If you want more information, head over to ksat.com. All right, speaking of nature, this is pretty cool. The Natural Bridge Caverns are now open for tours. So of course they were closed down due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but they have reopened. They have set up a bunch of different things now for you to go take a tour, including hand sanitizer stations, of course. They encourage people to wear masks, and right now a lot of people are just kind of exploring the outdoors, taking in the beautiful hill country, South Texas scenery to kind of social distance away from one another. So this would be a great way to do it. We have full information on them reopening on our website, and just again, all the different sort of rules and regulations that they have now set in place for guests to feel safe. One of the coolest things in our area, the Natural Bridge Caverns, they have reopened for tours. All right, last story here. You may have noticed, but it is getting pretty hot outside. I tend to not go outside very much as often, but we have a pretty cool list here of the best places right now to grab a mangonada, a snow cone, a raspa across the San Antonio area. So a lot of these places were closed due to the pandemic, but they have reopened. They have definitely, you know, they're taking care of their guests. They're making sure that everything's healthy. So make sure to check out these places. Now, these are not all the places in San Antonio you could get a Roswell, but here are the ones that we've officially confirmed that are officially open and ready to serve people these delicious, tasty treats. Now, if you ask me, and no one's really asking, but I'm just gonna say it anyway, I'm more of an ice cream guy. I like cookies and cream, chocolate chip mint, that's sort of my thing. But you know what? These raspas here look pretty good on our website. May have to check these out in the near future. So if you want more information on this, head over to KSAT.com. So that is what is trending tonight. Make sure you guys have a great night, stay safe, and I will check in with you guys again later.
Must be very strange doing this in these trying times, but no, we're rooting for you. Our money's on you to make this world a better place, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Should have had Harry Potter with that. Harry Potter music. Come on, Val. Thank you so much for watching The Night Beat starts at 10. We'll see you then.